Hey coin collectors, welcome to another joint video between the Big D Coin channel and DC Coin channel. This is DC from DC Coin, and we're going to look at the 1964 pennies today, the Lincoln 1 cent coins from 1964. But before we start looking at them, let's talk about some questions we've had from our viewers and subscribers. And one of the questions the subscribers say sometimes, and if you do a lot of the coin stuff, you think it's funny, but it apparently it's a question that people have, and that is 1964. So that's the year that the pennies were silver, and it isn't. In 1964, the pennies were not silver; they were still copper. Actually, they weren't the zinc of the modern day ones either. They were kind of a bronze, which is 95% copper, 5% zinc, or tin. So there was not a silver penny in 1964 or ever for the Lincoln Memorial version. There were silver dimes, and here's a 58 dime, but this is the same dime that would have been in 1964, and you can see it's silver all the way through, and then there's a 1964 quarter. And of course, so the silver versions of 1964 were the dime, the quarter, and the $half. And if you want a silver penny, you're not going to find one, but if you want a silver nickel, you can find one from the 1940s. I believe it's 1943, maybe 1944 too, when the United States produced silver nickels because they needed the nickel for the war efforts. All right, so what do we got here? Well, we got the Denver here. Let's see if we can separate them out. This is, well, maybe let's not use that Denver. That's a kind of beat up. Oh, there's another beat up. If you go through old pennies, you often find that many of them have colors, and you can see the green copper coming through here. So there's a 1964 Denver mint. Let's see if we can get the lining. Do you like this line? It kind of goes slanted across the page. There's a 64 Denver mint. Let's see if we can find a 64 plain. Here's one. And by plain, I mean Philadelphia mint. Philadelphia didn't put a P on in 1964. And so when you look for the Philadelphia mint, you look under here, and it is going to be blank. When you look for the Denver mint, you look over here, and it's going to be a D. And don't look for the San Francisco Mint from 1964 because they did not produce any at the San Francisco Mint in 1964. At the Denver Mint, they 3.8 billion for Denver, and at the Philadelphia Mint, 2.6 billion. So this is one of the years where Denver produced more, was in 1964. Another thing that people sometimes ask about 64 is, was this one of the years they didn't put any mint marks? Well, 64 wasn't that year, and it didn't happen on the penny anyway. It happened on other coins. So, in 1964, here we have it. In God We Trust at the top, President Lincoln facing to the right, Liberty behind him, the date underneath his chin. We tip it up, we see it has a smooth edge, and then we go to the back and we see on the back of both the Denver and the Philadelphia Mint coins, we see the Lincoln Memorial. Now, are any of these valuable? Yeah, there are some valuable error issues in this year, but if you can get this coin, even in an MS65, which is kind of the lowest level mint, one of the lower level mint state versions, the Denver coin in MS65 is worth $10 or more, and the Philadelphia Mint coin is worth about $8. So when we go to the back, we see that it is the Lincoln Memorial. It says United States of America at the top, E Pluribus Unum underneath it, and then we have the Lincoln Memorial. This is not the year with the floating roof version, which doesn't have a line coming down it. So this one, I don't know of any floating roofs from 1964. Down at the bottom it says 1 cent, and when these get really worn, you can hardly see Lincoln in there, but there he is sitting way in the back. Now, if you are looking for a really expensive version of this coin, what you want to do is look for some of the coins that are a little bit redder, and some of the ones that aren't, don't show the use on them. They're going to look a lot more like this coin, or this coloring, and they are going and not be quite as worn out. But you notice that when these coins get used, they get this kind of brown, and that's from the copper in them. You don't see that on the zinc coins. Here's a zinc coin for the 2015. This zinc coin actually weighs 2.55 grams, so it's way less than the 3.11 grams. But it also, because it has just a copper coating on it, you just don't get the patina that you do on the 1964 coins. So no silver in the penny, and in 1964 they didn't really change anything on the pennies. In fact, this penny stayed the same until 1982 when they changed it to zinc.